Welcome to another episode of Cooking with G.
And Elle, and we'd like to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. And today we're making my favorite Thanksgiving dish, Robin's stuffing. Who's Robin?
Robin is my mother-in-law, who I dearly love, but my God, can she talk. We were going to have her on this episode and include her in, but we didn't want it to be 40 hours long. So
We gotta get through this.
here we are.
So it is my personal opinion that my mom's stuffing is the best stuffing on the planet. If you do not currently like stuffing, it's because the stuffing that you're eating is trash. So we are going to tell you how to make the perfect stuffing. First thing that you want to do when you're cooking with G and Elle is pour yourself a drink, because cooking without drink, no fun.
A salute.
Kim Crawford, thank you.
Shout out to Kim. Send us a bottle or two. Huh?
The brand of stuffing that you use is very, very important. It's called Mrs. Cubbison's, and you want to make sure to get the traditional stuffing. Mrs. Cubbison's, because she's a really nice lady, she offers cornbread stuffing, she offers cube stuffing. I think there's another kind too. The traditional is where it's at. So we're basically gonna follow the instructions on the box, but we're just modifying it a little bit. So to begin, we're gonna melt down in a saucepan 1 cup, equivalent to 2 sticks of, what then?
Butter!
The best ingredient on the planet. And you know what? This looks like a lot of butter, but it's Thanksgiving. What?
It's one day.
What are we worried
It's not
about
a
here?
big deal, okay? One
So
day.
we're gonna melt this in a saucepan, and then we have ahead of time chopped a 1/2 cup of onion, diced actually pretty small, and a 1/2 cup of celery. And so once we melt our butter in the saucepan, we're gonna dump these in and we're gonna cook them until they are translucent, which is the exact instructions on the box.
Translucent.
Yes, do you know what that means?
Fancy, Mrs. Cumberbatch.
And while Lindsay cooks the vegetables in the butter, I will pour the Mrs. Cubbitson in a big mixing bowl.
Why'd you say it twice?
Okay, I'm ready to move on.
Hold on, let me get a close-up of the very translucent celery.
Well, you can actually see that the onions are translucent. Can you see? They're like kind of
I
see-through.
can't, and that's the point.
Okay.
And remember, don't throw the box away because that's where the instructions are. Otherwise, you're just going to be standing around looking at all the separate ingredients.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that.
And who threw it away, Gary?
I threw it away.
Because
No, I thought we were just. 'Cause
You're trash.
I'm trash. I'm on an edible. I've had a few drinks. She's in the lead. I threw Mrs.
in the
Cubb-
lead. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
You're the one running the show tonight. Mrs. Cubbitson got thrown out.
Have you cooked stuffing, Lindsay?
Now that our vegetables are cooked and you've been so kind to pour Mrs. Cubbison's into a nice mixing bowl, it's time to mix everything together. So first we're gonna add the butter vegetable mixture. So the other thing that we were able to do ahead of time, which is the key ingredient in this stuffing, or dressing as my mom calls it sometimes,
Dressing.
is the tube of Jimmy Dean sausage with sage. If you can't find the one with sage, I'm sure without sage will do just fine. So we've already cooked that ahead of time on the stovetop, and we've chopped that up really super fine. She puts it in the food processor, but we're lazy, and we also like when there's a little bit bigger pieces of sausage in it, so that's up to you.
It's really nice to see how many people came together to make this meal. Mrs. Cubbitson, Jimmy Dean,
My mom,
her mom.
Us,
It's really nice.
Ben.
I mean, this is what Thanksgiving is about. Come
Take-
together.
takes a village. The other thing that we were able to do ahead of time, which is also another very important ingredient that's not on the box, is we have grated,
Grated.
1 large green Granny Smith apple. And then we also have a 1.5 cups of chicken broth. Go ahead and pour that right over. So this recipe on the box calls for an egg. We don't use it. I don't know why. Robin just says don't use it, so I don't use it, and I trust her. And then the last thing that we're gonna add is 1 teaspoon poultry seasoning. It's probably something you're gonna have to get because who uses poultry seasoning anymore? My mother.
My mother.
Of course, it's stuck. There we go. 1 tisp poultry
Tisp.
seasoning.
Hey, just throw a tisp in there.
Why don't you mix that baby up?
Alright, you show me how to mix this baby up.
I think you know how to mix something up.
Oh yeah, mix it up. Oh, watch yourself.
Don't spill the sausage. Now,
Outfit. Gotta watch the outfit.
here's one thing that you should know. My mom, on Thanksgiving, does 2 stuffings or dressings. She makes 1 package of Mrs. Cubison's and she stuffs the bird. And I know that that's like a controversial thing now. Some people don't stuff the bird. My mom she's not of this time. She was meant to be like a homesteader, don't you agree? So she's very comfortable with stuffing the bird. I have to tell you, the dressing that comes out of the turkey is better. So if you're not afraid to give it a try, you stuff that bird
Stuff that bird.
with this dressing. Stuffing. But she also does, because not everybody likes that, and also when you have a lot of people, it's nice to have more. She'll do a whole nother, what do you call it? Like helping? A whole nother,
A dish.
a whole nother pan. I don't
We're
know why.
searching for vocabulary
I don't know why
words.
that was so hard for me. I don't know. Kim
alright.
Crawford.
Profit, edible.
She'll do a whole nother pan of just oven dressing that does not get stuffed in the
How
bird.
am I doing over here?
You're doing amazing.
Yeah?
So yeah, you just mix it up really good. It's not rocket science. And so then that wasn't like a diss on you. I was just saying to just mix it up really nice. As with everything that you're cooking, before you put it in the oven, you got to give it a little taste test because it may need a little salt and pepper. I rely on my expert here.
A little bit.
Little salt, little pepper.
Punch.
Feel free to add what you think it needs.
A little tisp.
All right, so we're ready to bake this thing. I've got a 9x13 casserole pan. You need to grease it because you don't want it to stick. You can use Pam. I used unsalted butter because I'm not trash. So we're gonna dump this thing in here. You can use a Pyrex, you can use a foil pan, but let's get it in here. Our beautiful wedding present lasagna pan
There it is.
that we're now using for stuffing.
And what are you gonna do?
And also, obviously, if you want to do this vegetarian or vegan, then you don't do the sausage and
Well,
you
maybe
use
if you
water instead of chicken broth.
Maybe if you're vegan, maybe you just go to bed, you skip Thanksgiving entirely, wake up in
You
the
just-
morning and go back to your spring mix or
You
something.
don't, you don't do stuffing.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so we're ready to bake this bad boy. The last thing we need to do is cover it in tin foil. Would you please?
Oh, sure. Why not?
So we're gonna bake this for 40 minutes, and the last 15 minutes, only if you want the top crispy, you're gonna take the foil off. So I guess what, that's 25 minutes with the foil on,
Yeah.
15 minutes with the foil off. Is that right? Did I do that math right?
It doesn't matter.
I was listening.
Doesn't
Okay.
matter. Who cares?
You figure it out.
Group taste.
Group taste. If you don't like stuffing on Thanksgiving, it's because you're doing it wrong. I've seen too many stuffings where there's too many ingredients. It looks like you foraged it from Sequoia National Park, nuts and berries. You need to keep it simple and do robin stuffing the right way. I promise you won't regret it.
Yeah, the hell with the sequoias. First, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and as we always say,
Bon appetit. If you don't like
If you don't like, Thanksgiving stuffing, there's about 4 pounds of phlegm in the stuffing. Don't worry about the butter. It's translucent.
He watched a video of a puma and he's been doing that for 2 weeks. By the way,
Told her,
that's not new. He's
Someone-
just always waiting to do that.
someone has domesticated a puma, and I watched this guy on Instagram.
Do I need to
TikTok,
record
whatever.
this?
Oh, yeah, record this.